They say every man fears death, but some fear something worse, waking up inside it. Alvaro Montero was one of those men, wealthy, respected, a landowner in the town of Villa das Almas. But behind his polished appearance, he harbored a fear that silently consumed him, being buried alive. In the Montero family, catalepsy was an unwelcome legacy, a rare and deceitful condition that plunged the body into a state of false death. No pulse, no response. But the mind remained awake, trapped, paralyzed, aware, just like what happened to his brother, Gustavo. Gustavo was declared dead at 42. The funeral happened quickly without suspicion, but days later, due to legal issues, they exhumed the body, and horror rose with the stench of death undone. Gustavo was lying on his side, his face frozen in a silent scream, his fingernails torn off, the inside of the coffin clawed in desperation. After that, Alvaro never slept peacefully again. He spent a fortune on doctors, experts, even charlatans, but in the end he trusted only one thing: precaution. He had a mausoleum built on his estate, with ventilation, a reinforced coffin, and enough space to move. The coffin? It was a macabre masterpiece. Padded interior, a light lid, and most importantly, a tiny hole, through which passed a silk string, one end tied to his finger. Outside, hanging at the mausoleum entrance, a bell. If he ever awoke from false death, a single pull was enough. The bell would ring, someone would hear. He would be saved. Simple. Genius. Foolproof. The townspeople laughed at the idea. They called him paranoid, delusional. But Alvaro smiled. He preferred the laughter of the living to the silence of the grave. And then, on a stormy night, the unthinkable happened. Alvaro collapsed, struck down in his study. The doctor confirmed it. Sudden death, just like Gustavo. The funeral was swift. No flowers, no mourning. They buried him in the family mausoleum, just as he had planned. The string tied to his finger, the bell hanging. Everything in place. The storm raged through the night. Lightning split the sky. Thunder drowned even the cries of the living. And around 3 a.m, the bell rang. Softly at first. Then louder, faster. Desperate. The caretaker heard it. Ran through the soaked yard to the mausoleum. The bell was still swinging. But the iron door was locked. The key? With the family lawyer. Miles away. The bell rang for a few more minutes. Then, silence. When morning came, the lawyer arrived with the key. They opened the tomb. The air inside was thick with the scent of metal and terror. Alvaro was lying on his side, his face twisted in fear, his fingernails torn off. The string snapped. He had awoken. He had tried. And he had died. Again. But fear didn't die with him. The caretaker, curious, took the bell home. A grim souvenir, perhaps. He hung it by his bed. And that very night, at 3 a.m, the bell rang. A faint sound, but clear. Since then, the bell has been locked in the basement of the old Montero house. No one lives there anymore. But they say that on stormy nights, if you walk near the hill, you can hear it. A soft bell toll, as if someone is still trying to get out. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll venture into the realm of the uncanny and explore a chilling tale that probes the deepest recesses of our primal fears. Join us as we delve into a story that will leave you questioning the very nature of life and death, survival and sacrifice. Deep in the heart of Portugal's rustic landscape, nestled a small town shrouded in mystery and folklore. This place, much like many others, seemed to hold its share of secrets. Among them, the looming presence of the Montero family and their lineage of fear. The family's existence was overshadowed by a dark legacy, catalepsy. This rare medical marvel was more than a mere ailment. It was a haunting specter that had awoken dormant fears within the community. Catalepsy, the art of stillness, often mistaken for death, was a cruel trickster. It could immobilize the body while the mind remained wide awake. And in this state, the afflicted were buried alive, trapped in their own coffins, condemned to a living nightmare. Within this lineage, two brothers stood out, Alvaro and Gustavo. Their lives were intertwined with this silent menace until Gustav's untimely demise at the age of 42. The official verdict, cardiac arrest. But the townsfolk knew better. They saw the signs of catalepsy in Gustav's frozen features. As Gustav's lifeless form was placed in the coffin, a chill went down the spines of those present. His fingernails bore the marks of a desperate struggle against an invisible enemy, his own body. The image was seared into their minds, a silent scream echoing through the ages. After Gustav's burial, Alvaro couldn't shake off the haunting specter of his brother's ordeal. The possibility of sharing the same fate loomed over him like a dark cloud. Sleep became a distant memory replaced by insomnia and a gnawing fear. This wasn't just about losing a sibling. It was about confronting the specter of one's own mortality and the unbearable thought of an afterlife spent imprisoned in a wooden box. To quell these gnawing fears, Alvaro sought solace in experts, doctors, and even charlatans. He spared no expense in his quest for answers. Yet the most convincing diagnosis came not from a lab or a medical text, but from within himself. The seeds of awareness were planted. What if the same fate awaited him? The idea took root and grew. In his mind, it became an obsession. He grappled with the terrifying prospect of being buried alive. Paralyzed by the thought of an eternity spent in darkness, he felt trapped between life and death, sanity and madness. It was during these dark hours that Alvaro discovered an unexpected ally, ingenuity. His solution, a testament to human resilience in the face of fear. He decided to build his own sanctuary, not a place of worship, but a mausoleum. This structure wasn't just a tomb. It was an architectural marvel designed to combat his greatest fear: ventilation, a luxurious coffin, and most importantly, space to move. These were not just features. They were lines of defense against the horrors of entombment. The centerpiece of this design, a small hole through which a silk thread protruded. This simple aperture was Alvaro's lifeline, a way to signal his presence to the outside world. If he found himself trapped in the cold embrace of catalepsy, all he needed to do was tie the other end of the thread to his finger and wait for rescue. It was a beacon of hope in a sea of despair, a silent cry for help that could potentially turn into a life-saving shout. However, this ingenious plan was met with laughter and mockery. The townspeople saw it as the eccentric scheme of a wealthy landowner. They labeled him paranoid, perhaps even mad. But Alvaro remained undeterred. He had conquered his fear, and now he was ready to face the judgment of others. For him, the ridicule was a small price to pay for the peace of mind that his elaborate coffin provided. As time passed, the people of the town forgot about Alvaro's strange contraption. They dismissed it as a whimsical fancy of a rich man. But fate had a cruel sense of humor. One stormy night, Alvaro suffered a sudden cardiac arrest, mirroring his brother's demise. The irony was not lost on the townspeople. Once again, they saw the telltale signs of catalepsy in his still form. There was no mistaking the eerie sight of his frozen features, a grim echo of Gustav's final moments. His funeral was a somber affair devoid of the usual rituals. No flowers, no prayers, just a swift descent into the family tomb. His last moments were spent in the darkness of the coffin, his hopes pinned on the thread tied to his finger. As the earth was piled on top of the coffin, a faint sound echoed through the graveyard. It was barely audible, yet it carried the weight of a desperate plea. The bell. It was as if Alvaro, even in his final moments, was reaching out for help. But his cries were lost in the wind, unheard, unseen. The next morning, when the caretaker rushed to the mausoleum, it was too late. Alvaro's lifeless form bore witness to his futile struggle. His fingernails, once again, told a tale of silent anguish. The string, however, had snapped, indicating that the fight had gone on for quite some time. It was a tragic end to a man who had tried to outsmart death itself. In the aftermath, the caretaker, shaken by the events, took the bell home. It became a chilling memento, a constant reminder of the harrowing struggle that had unfolded within the tomb. Every chime of that bell echoed with the desperation of a man trapped between life and death. Today, the old Montero house stands abandoned, a silent sentinel guarding the secrets of the past. The bell, once a symbol of hope, now hangs in the basement, mute and melancholic. It's as if the very walls of the house are holding their breath, waiting for the next chapter in this haunting saga to unfold. And so the tale of Alvaro and his macabre masterpiece serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the relentless grip of fear. It's a story that continues to resonate, leaving us to ponder the lengths to which one man went to conquer his greatest fears. Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed this chilling tale, don't forget to stay tuned for more captivating stories. Let us know in the comments below what other stories you'd like to hear. Your feedback keeps us motivated to bring you the best. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the unknown with us.